I'm continuing my journey of drawing different species while I try to learn about them. I have drawn flowers, trees, mammals, and reptiles for now, and this is the first time that I try to draw a bird. I have to point out that birds are also reptiles, but in my mind I group them as a different part of the animal kingdom, but I believe many people do so. So actually I will show you my second drawing of a bird because I chose the oilbird to start with, but then while I was coloring my sketch I realized I did not like it. I liked the pose, I liked the colors, but it looked stiff and oilbirds are really cute birds and I felt like I did not capture it well. So I started from scratch and here it starts. This fascinating bird is called the oilbird, or as the locals call it, the guácharo. If you're ever in the northern parts of South America or the Caribbean island of Trinidad, you might come across this unique creature. The oilbird, Steatornis caripensis, if I'm reading that correctly, is the only bird in its genus, family, and order, making it pretty special. So what makes this oilbird so unique? For starters, it is the only nocturnal flying fruit-eating bird in the world. That's right, while other birds like the nightjars might be up at night hunting insects, the oilbird is out there munching on fruits, especially from the oil palm and tropical laurels. And they have a pretty cool way of getting around in the dark. They use echolocation like bats. They produce high-pitched clicks that humans can hear to help them navigate through the pitch-black caves they call home. Speaking of caves, oilbirds love them. They nest in colonies in these dark, damp places. Their chicks are super fat, so much so that they used to be captured and boiled down for oil, which is how the oilbird got its name. It sounds pretty wild right now, but people did it. Oilbirds have an interesting history too. Fossils suggest they used to live all over the world. One fossil found in Green River Formation in Wyoming indicates that these birds have been around for a long time, though the ancient species might not have been as cave-adapted as the oilbirds we know today. Appearance-wise, oilbirds are quite striking. They are large, slim birds, around 40 to 49 centimeters long with a wingspan of up to 95 centimeters. They have a powerful hooked beak surrounded by long chestnut bristles, and their feathers are a soft reddish brown with white spots. Their tail feathers are stiff, which helps them navigate through tight cave spaces. Now let's talk about their eyes. Oilbirds have some of the most light-sensitive eyes of any bird. Their pupils are large and their retinas are packed with rod cells, which helps them see in the dark. This adaptation is crucial for their nocturnal lifestyle. However, they probably don't see too well in daylight. Oilbirds also make a variety of sounds. Apart from their echolocation clicks, they produce harsh screams that can be quite startling if you're exploring their caves with a light. Imagine being in a dark cave and hearing screams that have been compared to tortured men's cries. No wonder some people in Trinidad called them diablotin or little devil in French. These birds can be found from Guyana and Trinidad to Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, and Brazil. They need caves for breeding and roosting and forests with plenty of fruit trees. Interestingly, recent studies have shown that oilbirds also roost in trees, not just caves. This discovery came from scientists using GPS trackers on the birds. Oilbirds are seasonal migrants moving around in search of fruit trees. They've even been spotted as far as Costa Rica, Panama, and Aruba. One famous place to see them is the Guácharo cave in Venezuela. This cave is a national monument and part of a national park. When it comes to breeding, oilbirds are colonial nesters. They build nests out of droppings on ledges above water and lay 2 to 4 eggs. These eggs are white but soon get stained brown. The chicks grow very fat before they are ready to fly, weighing even more than the adults at their peak. It is another interesting thing to learn about. They have chubby babies, but they grow thinner once they reach adulthood. Despite their decreasing population, oilbirds are classified as least concern. There are national parks and conservation efforts in place to protect their habitats, like the Guácharo cave in Venezuela. So to sum it up, the oilbird is a nocturnal fruit-eating, cave-dwelling bird with a fascinating history and unique adaptations. Whether it's their echolocation abilities, their striking appearance, or their eerie screams, there's no doubt that oilbirds are one of nature's most intriguing birds. So for me, since I'm trying to create something visual, they did not look that intriguing at all at first. But once I got to learn a little bit more, I understood that they are a unique species and there were interesting things to learn about them. And there are places that we can use them for world building or story creating purposes. Like if you need a nocturnal bird in your story and you don't want to go to owls as many people do, they can be a nice alternative, and they only eat fruit. Maybe in a story where you have fruit trees, they can have a role where people may be depending on that food source. Also, people boiling the oilbird chicks to get oil was also another cruel but interesting thing that can be used in a story. I said I found their look not interesting, but actually they have this sweet red-brown color and they have this nice texture, which I didn't quite get it right, maybe especially with the first failed attempt. I tried to make a pattern and repeat that, but it looked awful in the second run. I did that part very quickly, but I felt better without using a repeating pattern. The heads of the birds are also very cute, but I looked at many reference photos and I don't know why this bird looks a bit miserable to me. Like they look a bit sad. Maybe it was because they're nocturnal and most photos are taken with daylight while the birds are trying to rest. That may be why. Anyway, I know there are lots of beautiful birds out there, very exotic ones with colorful feathers and different patterns and textures. So since I finished my first bird illustration, I'm looking forward for my second one. So I'm hoping to continue with my studies as I leave you with my first illustration of a bird.